The University of Maryland, Baltimore, it's this beautiful campus on the western side of downtown Baltimore, and it's really just this hidden gem of a lot of different graduate and medical professions.
I remember coming to visit and I met some of the professors, and their enthusiasm just made me really excited to come here.
And after visiting multiple dental schools, no other school was as diverse.
It was a big decision to further my education, and University of Maryland, Baltimore was my top choice. When we started off in person, I was so excited.
We were going to lecture every day. We had small groups, which consisted of at least 20 people in our small groups.
And then we quickly shifted to telelearning.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
It was very abrupt. Everything happened suddenly. We didn't expect this to happen at all, for sure.
And they had told us not to come in the next day to school because of the pandemic, and they said, we'll update you next week.
I ask your indulgence, and I ask for your partnership at all levels to get us through this very difficult time.
I was shocked, and I did not know how I was going to navigate through this. You know, once the initial shock wore off, it was time to get to business.
We converted swiftly to a virtual environment, which was completely different.
And it was an interesting change because everyone was wondering how we were going to learn things like a physical exam online, but we made it work with a lot of pillows and teddy bears and stuffed animal features.
My mom and I adapted our house to have this desk in one of our old rooms now. We now call it the office, but we kind of created our own office in that moment when the pandemic hit so that I would have a place to study.
We had a lot of protective equipment that we had to wear, sort of what we call the Darth Vader mask. It's like an elastomeric mask with a mask on top and then the face shield. So a lot of it you spend your time yelling so the patient could hear you. I mean, it was very difficult talking through, but over time the school transitioned into, different type of masks to accommodate.
For me, I really cared about the opportunity, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me from learning. I was COVID or not, virtual or in person, I wanted to just take this opportunity that I never thought I would have and make the most of it.
Seeing that University of Maryland, Baltimore was encouraging so many different things, and so many different schools were doing different things like food drives and blood drives.
I was very excited to be a part of the nursing program that was going out into the community, canvassing, mask making.
This is why I really like to participate myself in the COVID clinic.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. We were being recruited basically based upon availability to go help give the injection.
I think that really emphasizes University of Maryland, Baltimore's idea that interprofessional work is so important. And it's really working together as a team because everybody has something different to bring. But once we bring it all together, we can really do good for the community.
I think giving back to the community is very rewarding, and we as a professionals have to do that.
It was a sense of community even though we were apart.
Going back into the clinical environment and going back to this in-person learning setting was definitely a little bit strange at first and a little bit scary.
With a temperature of 98.
In planning this transition, I have sought input from many groups across UMB.
I think the way that the university and our professors handled it made it really smooth. I felt really comfortable going into the rest of the spring semester.
It was very exciting to go back and see friends at the school in person again. Hugs, welcome backs. It was very nice to see people back. It was an emotional moment.
I never gave up the hope of finishing. It just made it seem like it was so far away and that was never gonna happen. But it did push me to just get through it, and the only way I got through it was one day at a time, one course at a time, and I look up now and we're at the end and I can't believe we got here.
I'm literally so excited to graduate. Not that law school hasn't been a great journey, but I am very much ready to be done with school.
I'm super excited to be graduating. I can't believe that it's already been 4 years and that I've made it through medical school. I'm so excited to see what will come of the next phase of my life.
And I truly believe that University of Maryland, Baltimore has equipped me with all the tools I need to be successful in serving this community.
I am excited for graduation, but it's more like I'm so excited to work.
The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. and it's just, the tip of the foundation moving forward.
I am proud to enter the field of family medicine.
To enter the field of physician assistant.
To enter the field of pharmacy.
To be entering the field of medicine and to be able to help future patients.
And I'm thankful for the support that my teachers at the University of Maryland, Baltimore have given me to do so.
In advance of today's program, please be sure to silence all phones and other electronic devices. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the 2022 commencement of the University of Maryland, Baltimore. Leading the procession is the Honorary University Marshal, Dr. Francis Palumbo, Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Health Services Research, and Executive Director of the Center on Drugs and Public Policy in the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy. Leading the graduates are the Honorary Student Marshals, Dr. Karen Ferrone, Associate Dean of Student Affairs and Clinical Associate Professor, Department of Advanced Oral Sciences and Therapeutics, University of Maryland School of Dentistry, and Dr. Catherine Fornilli, Assistant Professor, Department of Family and Community Health, University of Maryland School of Nursing. The candidates are now entering the arena. Faculty of the university are now entering the arena, led by Honorary Faculty Marshal, Dr. Deborah Joya, Associate Professor, University of Maryland School of Social Work. Will everyone please rise? Distinguished members of the platform party are led by the Marshal, Dr. Isabel Rambob, Assistant Professor in the School of Dentistry. Dr. Rambob is followed by Dr. Bruce Jarrell, President of the University of Maryland, Baltimore. Please remain standing and join in the singing of the national anthem, led by Christina Fenwick, President of the UMB Staff Senate.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated.
Christine, that was fabulous. Give her another round of applause. It's a great way to start a great day. It's all of us great to be here. I'm allowed to take this off when I talk, so it feels much nicer this way. Greetings on behalf of the faculty and administration of the University of Maryland, Baltimore. I am delighted to welcome the class of 2022, their families, and their friends. I'm especially grateful to be here in person. It's good to be alive. It's good to be here in person. It's good to see your faces, all of those things. We're here to celebrate today. You're taking your place as graduates in a long line of distinguished graduates, of individuals who have graduated from UMB. UMB is the founding campus of the University System of Maryland. We're a unique university in this state. Congratulations on that. All of you sitting here have worked very hard to get here. All of us have gone through the last 2.5 years of this pandemic. It's been difficult. We've wondered why we exist on this earth at times. It's been just very difficult. And yet, we've all been so committed to our fellow man, to our professions, to being here, to being successful. You are so resilient, so tough. Congratulations on that. And I'm pleased to have been a part of that. Now, to the graduates who are here, I'd like you to look around this beautiful arena. It is a beautiful arena, but I'd like you to look around and see all of the people who helped you to get here. Here you are finishing, and who all of the people were who helped you to get to this point in time. There's a lot of love and devotion in this room. You can feel it. You've gotten a lot of support and guidance. I think your families and friends and loved ones deserve a round of applause. Please let them know that. It's also my pleasure to introduce to you the platform party. These are individuals that oftentimes you do not necessarily see every day, but who work very hard to make this university happen and your education happen. I would have to start that with the faculty who are here. Thank you for being here. And before I get to the platform party, I want to give a very, very special welcome to our two guests, our two honorary degree recipients, Dr. Christine Grady and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. So let me introduce the platform party without delay here, and I would ask to withhold your applause until the end, and also you'll get a chance to thank them for your individual school as well. But these are the people who have been behind you to make you successful. Dean Natalie Eddington, Dean School of Pharmacy. Dean, I love it. Dean Jane Kersling, Dean of Nursing. I guess cheers aren't applause, right? Dean Judy Postmas, School of Social Work. Dean E. Albert Reese, School of Medicine. Dean Mark Reynolds, School of Dentistry. Dean Donald Tobin, Maryland Carey School of Law. Dean Roger Ward, Provost and Executive Vice President and Dean of the Graduate School. Of the Vice Presidents here also now, Ms. Jennifer Lichman, Senior Vice President for External Relations, Dr. Peter Murray, Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer, Dr. Dawn Rhodes, Chief Business and Finance Officer and Senior Vice President, Dean M.J. Toohey, Associate Vice Provost and Dean, Health Sciences and Human Sciences Library, Dr. Diane Forbes Berthalde, Chief Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Officer and Vice President, Dr. Susan Buskirk, Chief Accountability and Vice President, Dr. Stephen Davis, Vice President, Clinical and Translational Science, Mr. Kevin Kelly, Chief of Governmental Affairs and Vice President, and lastly, Dr. Flavius Lilly, Vice President, Academic and Student Affairs and Vice Dean of the Graduate School. Also with us, representing our Board of Trustees, was going to be here Dr. Harry Knipp, but who I don't believe made it. He leads the UMB Foundation Board of Trustees. This is a group of individuals who is very devoted to help maintain the infrastructure of this university. They advise me on matters of how best to serve you as a group of students, as well as help us in fundraising. I also have several honorary notes to thank. Our honorary university marshal, Dr. Frank Palumbo, and our honorary marshals, Dr. Deborah Joya, Dr. Catherine Fornilli, Dr. Karen Ferrone, and Dr. Isabel Rambob. Also here is the Vice President of the Faculty Senate, Dr. Sarasi Desikan, and President of the Staff Senate and our singer of the National Anthem, Ms. Christina Fenwick. That was so good. To the entire platform party, I thank you very much for being here as we honor these new graduates. Next is to give greetings on behalf of the governor. And bringing greetings to the graduates on behalf of Governor Larry Hogan, I'm delighted to welcome Maryland Secretary of Higher Education, Mr. Jim Felder. Jim?
Good morning. Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. All right, now the easy part, a round of applause. And that's for each of you. What you've done to be here today deserves a special celebration. You need to mark it in your own personal history. You need to know that this was a dream that you had that was only yours, and you've made it this far, and it's now what do you do with it? You graduate, you are the emissaries of our future. You are the ones that we depend on for leadership and communication skills, and that's what's going to carry you into your future. In the last 8 years, there's literally been billions and billions of dollars each year with greater investments in higher education. One of the figures that's interesting is $1.1 billion invested in scholarships. When we say invested in scholarships, they're invested in you, and hopefully many of you have taken advantage of those. And if not, brothers and sisters, family members, encourage them to look that up. It's important. Get your debt load as light as you can so you can be most successful. With that, I just want to say congratulations on behalf of Governor Hogan. He's so excited to know that this new leadership group is moving out. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Fielder. We also have regents from our regents, and here to honor the University System of Maryland Regents is Mr. Bill Wood, a graduate of this university and one of the strongest advocates we could ever have. Regent Wood? Oh, there he is.
Good morning. I have a question for you. Are you happy to be here today in person? In this arena? Well, after 2 years of virtual communications and virtual commencements, I can tell you that everybody on this platform is happy to be here with you. Today, I am delighted to extend best wishes and congratulations from the entire University System of Maryland and the Board of Regents to each of you and your family and friends who have shared your struggle and sacrifice. I know they are proud to be with you today. Even under the best of circumstances, what you have achieved takes hard work, persistence, and dedication. But I believe that having to succeed under these difficult circumstances has its own reward. The resilience, adaptability, and tenacity that you have demonstrated will serve you well throughout your careers and throughout your lives. It is also an honor to share this day with your outstanding president, Dr. Bruce Gerald. UMB's outstanding deans, faculty and staff, and Dr. Gerald, under his leadership, continue to proudly advance UMB as a force for education, research, and service. We recognize that each of UMB's professional schools and its graduate school are highly regarded locally, nationally, and yes, internationally, and that UMB is a leader in academic research and provides literally millions of hours in vital community service every year. Just think about that. Millions of hours every year in public service. Incredible. In short, UMB represents everything that is best about public professional higher education. We are also especially honored to be here with our commencement speaker, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci will be introduced to you formally in a few minutes and is the most recognized person in the world. He is a true public servant and in so many ways is America's doctor. We look forward to his address, and once again, a well-deserved congratulations to each of you and all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Wood. Each year, we have a member of the graduating class offer some comments to you as graduates. This year, we have added to that task by also having her introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Fauci. So she gets double duty, or you could say a very special role in this set of exercises. The speaker selected this year is Nweta Dita Hedgedkar. Boy, I got that one, and I practiced so hard on that. I know Niv as Niv, and I know Niv quite well that way. She will be graduating this year with her PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology. But there's one or two special things that I'd like to mention about Niv, because I think she is special. She moved to this great country in 2014 from India. Let me say that over again. She moved to this great country in 2014. Since that time, she has gotten her Master's of Science in Law, majoring in patent law from the University of Maryland, Baltimore, Carey School of Law. And she's also gotten a pharmacy degree before she came here to the United States. Niv has been very actively involved in student government work since 2015. She served as UMB's University Student Government Association president for 2 years. And she was very active during the COVID period in advising me about what was important to students. She worked as the Director of Communications and Public Relations for the University System of Maryland Student Council, so service not just to UMB, but service to our overall Maryland system. And she, of course, was also the recipient of the 2021 UMB Core Values Award for Leadership. After graduating, Niv will be pursuing a postdoctoral fellowship at UMB. Please join me in greeting Niv to say some comments to you and to introduce our keynote speaker. Niv?
A very good morning, President Gerald, distinguished faculty, staff, invited guests, family, friends, and all my fellow graduates. It is a real honor to represent the students at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and to say a few words on behalf of the graduating class of 2022. First of all, to my fellow graduates, a big congratulations to all of us. We finally made it. And what a pleasure it is to be able to celebrate it together in person after all that we have been through with the pandemic. And needless to say, we have been a resilient bunch. We came to UMB due to our hunger and aptitude for knowledge and to make our mark as professionals and leaders of tomorrow. However, over the past 2 years, we have learned and experienced school and life in ways that have given new meaning to the words resilience and perseverance. The class of 2022 has lived to tell a tale like no other and overcome adversity to emerge victoriously. But while I extol our resilience and perseverance, these past 2 years have not been without their hardships and barriers. Many of them have been learned the hard way. But through these lessons, we are here together, stronger than ever. We have realized the importance of working together and working for one another. Through these lessons, we have learned to be adaptable, empathetic, kind, and to always do the right thing, no matter how difficult that might be. And who has walked this path better than our esteemed keynote speaker for UMB's 2022 commencement, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, Dr. Fauci may be renowned as the leader during the COVID pandemic and rightfully regarded as America's doctor. But he has worn many hats throughout his illustrious career spanning 6 decades. After completing his internship and residency in internal medicine, he worked as a researcher at the National Institute of Health for over a decade, developing effective therapies for formerly fatal inflammatory diseases. In 1984, he was appointed by then-President Ronald Reagan as the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Throughout the 1980s, Dr. Fauci led the government's HIV/AIDS response efforts, advocated for increased research funding, and spearheaded successful drug development. He also led the development of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, also known as PEPFAR, a program that has saved millions of lives throughout the developing world. As the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for 38 brilliant years, he has advised 7 US presidents on emerging and infectious diseases, including the one that continues to dominate our lives today. I will let Dr. Levine, who will be presenting Dr. Fauci with his Honorary Doctor of Public Service degree, talk more about his many achievements and work. But I would like to conclude with these words. Dr. Fauci, your decades of leadership and dedication to public service have been unparalleled. While being at the forefront of the battle against COVID-19, you served as a thoughtful and empathetic voice during this crisis, firmly dedicated to putting science first and saving lives not just in the US, but across the world. To the class of 2022 and the future leaders of tomorrow, you have been an inspiration and a role model, and we thank you so much for taking the time today to celebrate with us and share your wisdom. Distinguished guests, please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker for this morning, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Niv, for that very kind introduction. Members of the faculty, distinguished guests, family members, and friends of the graduates, and of course, you, the 2022 graduating class of the University of Maryland, Baltimore. I am delighted and truly honored to be your commencement speaker. I am also humbled to receive an honorary degree, for which I thank Dr. Gerald and the Board of Regents of the University System of Maryland. In addition, today is very special to me because I also am here to celebrate the honorary degree that my wife and life partner, Dr. Christine Grady, will receive in recognition of her own independent academic accomplishments. So over the years, I have been privileged to speak to graduate and professional school students such as yourselves at a number of university commencements. Not uncommonly, I have recalled my graduation from medical school many years ago and have drawn analogies between then and now to illustrate that we shared a common experience. Frankly, that would not be appropriate in speaking to your class. The cloud of the COVID-19 pandemic, under which we continue to live, has disrupted your educational experience in profoundly unique and unprecedented ways. Clearly, this historic pandemic will leave an indelible mark on your entire generation. However, the fact that you have successfully navigated each hurdle the pandemic has put in your way just to sit here today is a testimony to your resilience, resolve, and strength of character. And actually, I am in awe of you for this, and you deserve enormous respect for your adaptability and dedication to completing your studies and graduating amidst immense difficulties and uncertainties. And so, while my graduate educational experience was quite different from yours, I would like to briefly reflect on a few issues, including some magnified by the COVID-19 pandemic, that might be worth at least considering. Now, truth be told, when I think back on my own graduation from college and medical school, I cannot remember a single word of what the commencement speaker said. True. And so, years from now, I do not expect you to remember what I say, but in the next few minutes, I hope to kindle in you some thoughts. First, the concept of the perpetual student. It is understandable that on this day you feel that you no longer really are a student. Let me tell you, this is just an illusion. In my own case, it became painfully apparent shortly after I graduated from medical school that my student days had just begun. However, that same principle applies to so many other fields in which we are all perpetual students. Indeed, the mosaic of our knowledge and experience is eternally unfinished. As Will Durant, the late historian, philosopher, and author of The Story of Civilization, famously said, and I quote, "Education is a progressive discovery of our own ignorance." To this day, I still feel a palpable excitement in the continual process of learning, no matter which of the many hats of responsibility that I'm wearing. Seeing patients, working in a lab, directing a large biomedical research institute, or advising the President of the United States of America during a raging pandemic. I urge you to embrace such an attitude as you proceed in the wide range of careers that you all will pursue. Which leads me to my next point of discussion. Expect the unexpected. Now, planning and charting one's path in life is something we all do to a greater or lesser degree. However, in my own experience, some of the most impactful events that have touched my life and directions that I have taken have been completely unanticipated and unplanned. You are at a period in your lives where you have the potential to do almost anything. And so please, keep an open mind and do not shy away from dreaming impossible dreams and seizing upon unanticipated opportunities. Let me describe briefly an example of such a completely unanticipated challenge and opportunity that profoundly impacted the direction of my career and my entire life. After graduating from medical school and following my years of residency and fellowship training, I began a journey in 1972 as a young clinical investigator at the National Institutes of Health. Over the next 9 years, I progressed to what was considered by many as a very successful, safe, and comfortable career in investigative medicine. My future seemed settled. Then, in June of 1981, 41 years ago next month, I remember quite clearly sitting in my NIH office reading a report from the CDC about a handful of cases of an unusual pneumonia among gay men in Los Angeles. 1 month later, 26 additional cases of gay men from Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York City with not only this unusual pneumonia, but also other rare infections and cancers that were described in a second CDC report. We did not realize it at the time, but we were witnessing the emergence of one of the worst public health scourges in recent memory, the HIV/AIDS pandemic. I became totally engrossed in this mysterious new disease that did not yet have a name and certainly not an etiologic agent. I am still not sure what drove me to do this, but I decided right there and then to make an abrupt turn in the direction of my career, abandon my successful research pursuits, and investigate the pathogenesis of this mysterious new disease. My mentors, whom I respected, were horrified and insisted that I was making a career-ending mistake and that this disease would amount to nothing. However, the ultimate emergence of the AIDS pandemic and my decision to pivot and devote my effort to this unexpected public health challenge transformed my professional life, if not my entire life, and put me on the path that I am on to this very day. Now, obviously, not every opportunity or challenge that you encounter will influence your careers or your lives or be as dramatic as a mysterious infectious diseases outbreak. However, please believe me that you will confront the same types of unpredictable events that I've experienced, regardless of what directions your careers or your lives take. And so, expect the unexpected and stay heads up for an unanticipated opportunity should it present yourself. Listen to the advice of others who care about you, but at the end of the day, go with your own gut. It can be rewarding, exciting, and potentially career and life-altering. Next, health inequities. Our country's experience with COVID-19 has shown a spotlight on one of the great failings in our society, the lack of health equity. As a physician, I feel that I must highlight this for you today. COVID-19 has exposed long-standing inequities that have undermined the physical, social, economic, and emotional health of racial and ethnic minorities. Many members of minority groups are at increased risk of COVID-19 simply because the jobs they have as essential workers do not allow them to isolate from social activity. More importantly, when people in minority groups are infected with the coronavirus, they have a much greater likelihood of developing a severe consequence due to the elevated rates of underlying conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and chronic lung disease, among others, that lead to an increased risk of hospitalization and death. Now, very few of these conditions are racially determined. Almost all relate to the social determinants of health experienced since birth, including the limited availability of a healthful diet, substandard housing, the lack of access to health care, and tragically, the restrictions and pressures experienced to this very day because of the undeniable racism that persists in our society. Let us let us promise ourselves that our corporate memory of the tragic reality of the inequities experienced with COVID-19 does not fade after we return to our normal new life. It will take decades-long commitment for society to address these disparities. I strongly urge you to be part of that commitment. Together, we must find the strength, wisdom, ingenuity, and empathy to address these entrenched elements of injustice, manifested in so many subtle and sometimes overt ways, and work with all our might to remedy the cultural disease of racism, just as we fight the viral disease of COVID-19. Which brings me to my last point of discussion, another issue magnified by the COVID-19 pandemic. I call it the normalization of untruths. Now, living in Washington, I've experienced firsthand during the COVID-19 pandemic something that has troubled and saddened me: a deepening divisiveness in our nation. Unfortunately, differences of opinion or ideology are sometimes accompanied by egregious distortions of reality. Segments of our society have been increasingly bombarded with falsehoods and lies that often stand largely unchallenged. And sadly, this has led some to accept the insidious normalization of untruths. We see this happen daily, propagated through a range of traditional and social media platforms by a spectrum of people, including, unfortunately, certain elected officials in positions of power. Yet, the outrage and dissent against this alarming trend has been muted and mild. And so, if you remember nothing else from what I say today, I appeal to you, please remember this: it is our collective responsibility not to sink to a tacit acceptance of the distortion of facts and outright lies. Because if we do, we bring danger to ourselves, our families, and our communities. This is how a society deteriorates into a way of life where veracity becomes subservient to propaganda rather than upheld as a guiding principle for creating and sustaining a just social order. James Mill, a Scottish historian and philosopher, wrote, and I quote, "As our opinions are the fathers of our actions, to be indifferent about the evidence of our opinions is to be indifferent about the consequences of our actions." I implore you, apply your abilities to analyze and examine, which you have honed here at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, to discern and challenge weak assertions and to reject pronouncements built on untruths. As our future leaders, we are depending on you for this. In closing, I have been speaking to you over the past few minutes about some serious issues. Putting this serious business aside for a moment, I want to remind you about the joys that life can really bring and what a bright future you have. Allow yourselves to cultivate what brings you joy as much as you do your professional accomplishments. And think about your future as that's stated by the American political theorist John H. Shaw, and I quote, "The future is not some place we are going to, but one we are creating. The paths are not to be found, but made, and the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination." Congratulations to you, to your families and your loved ones. Good luck, and God bless you.
So many times in the past several years, people have come up to me and said, "Dr. Jarrell, we don't know how to deal with this COVID issue." And I always had one standard comment back to them, and it's a change of a quote that some of you may remember from Dean Witter. And it was, "When Tony Fauci speaks, I listen. I hope you listen too." The other comment in thanking Dr. Fauci is, 30 years from now, when you think about this graduation exercise, I bet you won't remember who the president was or who your dean was, but I'll bet you'll remember who your speaker was. Thank you.
Today's honorary degrees will be conferred by Dr. Bruce Jarrell, President of the University of Maryland, Baltimore.
Thank you. Under the authority granted by the state of Maryland to the Board of Regents of the University System of Maryland, and by that board and the chancellor delegated to me, I shall now proceed to confer degrees with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining.
Dr. Jane Kirschling, the Bill and Joanne Conway Dean of the University of Maryland School of Nursing, will present Dr. Christine Grady for the honorary degree Doctor of Public Service.
Jane, it's not working.
We need the mic on. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you, guys. So, President Jarrell, it is my pleasure and great honor to present Dr. Christine Grady for the degree of Honorary Doctor of Public Service. Dr. Grady is a nationally and internationally recognized nurse bioethicist, researcher, and scholar. She is chief of the Department of Bioethics at the National Institutes of Health Clinical Center. Bioethics addresses issues that are often at the intersection of medicine, law, public policy, religion, and science, and therefore particularly worthy of recognition by the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and the University System of Maryland. As chief of the Department of Bioethics, Dr. Grady leads one of the nation's preeminent centers for bioethics scholarship and training. The department is dedicated to interdisciplinary and interinstitutional collaboration, bringing multiple disciplines to bear on contemporary questions of bioethics. It combines a rigorous academic environment with a commitment to clinical bioethics services at the National Institutes of Health and serves as a national resource for clinicians and ethicists. Dr. Grady joined the NIH in 1983. She was named chief of the Department of Bioethics in 2012, having previously served in several roles, including as head of the section on human subjects research from 1998 to 2014. Dr. Grady's research and scholarship is primarily focused on the ethics of clinical research, as well as on ethical issues faced by nurses and other healthcare providers. Recently, Dr. Grady and her colleagues have brought national attention to the critical issue of moral distress and burnout among healthcare providers. She has noted the need to address organizational and systemic factors within healthcare systems and not simply rely on fostering individual resilience and coping skills. The author of more than 200 journal articles, 35 book chapters, and editor or author of multiple textbooks, Dr. Grady has been recognized with numerous awards and honors. She is an elected fellow of the Hastings Center, the American Academy of Nursing, and the National Academy of Medicine. She received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Society for Bioethics and Humanities. Dr. Grady holds a BS in Nursing and Biology from Georgetown University, a Master's in Community Health Nursing from Boston College, and a PhD from Georgetown University. Dr. Grady exemplifies a researcher and scholar who is first and foremost a public servant. The ability to raise difficult, thorny, and complex questions and challenges us to determine the right thing to do is critically important to the wise evolution of policy, science, and the delivery of health care. In awarding her the Honorary Doctor of Public Service, we recognize and honor her leadership and service in the field of bioethics and her abiding commitment to improving the human condition.
Dr. Grady, it is indeed a pleasure to confer upon you the degree Honorary Doctor of Public Service. Congratulations.
Dr. Grady will now be hooded by her husband, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Myron Levine will present Dr. Anthony Fauci for the honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service.
Congratulations, students, families, and friends of students. Dr. Anthony Fauci, this hooding ceremony formalizes the bestowing upon you of an honorary doctorate from the University of Maryland, Baltimore. The university and the state of Maryland acknowledge your extraordinary service and leadership as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984. We particularly hail the leadership that you provided during the COVID-19 pandemic, when our country and the world faced a cataclysmic infectious disease crisis of historic magnitude. Your skill in communicating what steps had to be taken and why in order to save lives made you a national hero. However, COVID-19 is only one of the many challenges that you've confronted over the years, and this honorary doctorate acknowledges your long-term commitment to underpin public health actions based on evidence derived from well-designed research. You led the response to AIDS in the mid-1980s, to West Nile fever in 1999. You led the response to potential bioterror threats that followed the events of September 11th, 2001, and the response in 2010 to swine influenza pandemic, 2014 to the Ebola epidemic of West Africa, and the Zika virus epidemic of 2015-2016. For each of these threats, you galvanized research resources at NIAID and across the United States. These resources helped to develop diagnostic tests to detect, vaccines to prevent, and therapies to treat these emerging infectious diseases. This work has helped countless people across the world. Your nurturing of the Vaccine Research Center at NIAID created a global model and resource. Through the decades, units within the University of Maryland, Baltimore have partnered in various NIAID-sponsored competitive research programs to help address the above-mentioned infections. One such unit is the Center for Vaccine and Global Health, the CVD, of the University of Maryland School of Medicine, which shares a mission and service to others. Besides fostering and supporting intramural research and extramural research at the national level, you yourself have been a prolific scholar in reporting research findings and in providing commentaries in the most respected and influential medical journals. We applaud your commitment to research and discovery in service of improving the human condition. The faculty, staff, and students of the University of Maryland, Baltimore salute you for your scholarship, and we thank you for your long-standing inspirational service to science and the positive impact you have made to the public health of our nation and of the world.
Dr. Fauci, it is indeed a pleasure to confer upon you the honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service. Congratulations.
Dr. Fauci will now be hooded by his wife, Dr. Christine Grady.
Thank you, thank you.
Degrees for the 2022 graduates of the University of Maryland, Baltimore will be conferred by President Gerald.
Thank you. Under the authority granted by the State of Maryland to the Board of Regents of the University System of Maryland, and by that board and the Chancellor delegated to me, I shall now proceed to confer degrees with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining for all of you.
Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dr. Roger Ward, Executive Vice President and Provost and Dean of the University of Maryland Graduate School.
And rigorous education for our students who, through their studies, are empowered as agents of innovation and leaders of change. For that reason, I am privileged to present the next generation of scientists, researchers, scholars, educators, and practitioners who will discover, manufacture, and make accessible and available the vaccines, the therapeutics, and the treatments that will heal every person in every corner of this planet of the diseases and conditions that afflict us now and will in the future. Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the distinguished faculty of the Graduate School, I request that you confer upon these very deserving and impressive candidates the degree Doctor of Philosophy in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements.
Dean Ward, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
Graduates with the degree Doctor of Philosophy will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dr. Ward.
Mr. President, I read somewhere that to be an innovator, you have to be first or you have to be different. While these students certainly can claim to be the first cohort of master's students to graduate from a distinguished graduate school, they can certainly lay claim to being different. These candidates are innovators. They are lifelong learners. They are fearless. They are uncompromising in their dedication to and pursuit of equity and justice. And they are bold and assertive about being the change agents for the good they wish to see in our society. Mr. President, these candidates are eager to get to work. So, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the graduate school, I request that you confer upon these remarkable candidates the degree Master of Science in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements.
Dean Ward, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Master of Science. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Master of Science will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Medicine please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dr. E. Albert Reese, Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs and Dean of the University of Maryland School of Medicine.
Mr. President, as you know, aging continues rather rapidly in this country. So we need exceptional physician graduates. This group of graduates come from a sample of 6,000 outstanding applicants, of which we chose 150. Therefore, in accordance with a recommendation of the faculty of the School of Medicine, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Doctor of Medicine in recognition of their successful and exceptional completion of all the rigorous requirements that we have introduced.
Thank you, Dean Reese. I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Doctor of Medicine. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Doctor of Medicine will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Reese.
Mr. President, likewise, we do need physical therapy for our aging bodies. Therefore, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty in the School of Medicine, I request that you confer upon these extraordinarily qualified and well-prepared candidates the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy in recognition of their successful completion of our rigorous requirements.
Thank you, Dean Reese. I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Masters in Genetic Counseling please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Reese.
Mr. President, as you know, we are entering into the era of genomics and genetics, and therefore we need interpreters and translators. Therefore, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the School of Medicine, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Masters in Genetic Counseling in recognition of their successful completion of all our requirements.
Dean Reese, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Masters in Genetic Counseling. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Masters in Genetic Counseling will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Public Health please rise? The candidates will be presented by Dean Reese.
Mr. President, Once again, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the School of Medicine, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Master of Public Health in recognition of their successful completion of all our requirements.
Dean Reese, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon you the degree Master of Public Health. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Master of Public Health will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science with a major in Medical and Research Technology please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Reese.
Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the School of Medicine's faculty, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Bachelor of Science in recognition of their successful completion of all the requirements.
Thank you, Dean Reese. I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Bachelor of Science. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Bachelor of Science will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Juris Doctor please rise? Candidates will be presented by Donald Tobin, Dean of the University of Maryland Francis King Carey School of Law.
Mr. President, I present to you these amazing, talented, and resilient candidates for the degree of Juris Doctorate. These candidates have provided over 75,000 hours of pro bono legal services to the citizens of Maryland. They are well positioned to be the next generation of great leaders for our state and the nation. The faculty of the Francis King Carey School of Law has certified that these excellent candidates have completed all the rigorous and demanding requirements for the degree of Juris Doctorate. Therefore, Mr. President, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Juris Doctorate in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements.
Dean Tobin, I am pleased to accept your candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Juris Doctor. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Juris Doctor will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Laws please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Tobin.
Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the Francis King Carey School of Law, I request that you confer upon these amazing candidates the degree Masters of Laws. They come from over 12 countries, have previously obtained law degrees in another country, and came to the school for further study and to advance their legal expertise. Therefore, Mr. President, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Masters of Laws in recognition of their successful completion of all of the requirements of the School of Law.
Dean Tobin, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Master of Law.
Graduates with the degree Master of Laws will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Law please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Tobin.
Mr. President, I take great pride in presenting to you the outstanding candidates for the Master of Science in Law. 2 years ago, these working professionals began their education in our Master of Science in Law program. Their professional backgrounds include medicine, retail, human resources, higher education, transportation, energy, environmental science, the military, pharmaceuticals, and much more. The students have gained knowledge of law, policies, and regulations in the area of healthcare law, environmental law, cybersecurity law, or crisis management law. The faculty of the Francis King Carey School of Law has certified that these excellent candidates have completed all requirements for their degree. Therefore, Mr. President, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree of Master of Science in Law in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements.
Thank you, Dean Tobin. I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Masters of Science in Law. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Master of Science in Law will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Dental Surgery please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dr. Mark Reynolds, Dean of the University of Maryland School of Dentistry.
Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the School of Dentistry, I request that you confer upon these remarkable candidates the degree Doctor of Dental Surgery in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements. President Jarrell, I am exceedingly proud to say that among these extraordinary candidates is one of the 2021 UMB Founders Week Students of the Year. I am also proud to report that this graduating class has achieved a 100% pass rate on their rigorous dental licensure examination rate. Moreover, the majority of these remarkable candidates have made a commitment to continue their educational training for an additional 1 to 6 years. We are confident that through their leadership, practice, and service, they will be instrumental in addressing oral health disparities and inequities, in advancing discovery-based clinical care, and in promoting the health of our communities. President Jarrell, I present to you the candidates for the degree Doctor of Dental Surgery.
Thank you, Dean Reynolds. I am pleased to confer upon each of you the degree Doctor of Dental Surgery. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Doctor of Dental Surgery will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science with a major in dental hygiene please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Reynolds.
Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the School of Dentistry, I request that you confer upon these remarkable candidates the degree Bachelor of Science in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements. President Jarrell, it is fitting that I point out that the University of Maryland, Baltimore offers the only baccalaureate program in dental hygiene in the state of Maryland. I am also extremely proud to report that these outstanding candidates completed nearly 2,000 hours of community service beyond requirements and achieved a 100% pass rate on their rigorous National Board Dental Hygiene Examination to achieve licensures. Many of our candidates will continue their educational training in graduate programs, while others will enter professional practice to promote the oral health of our communities by providing clinical care, educational outreach, and community service. President Jarrell, I present to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science.
Dean Reynolds, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Bachelor of Science. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Bachelor of Science will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Pharmacy please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dr. Natalie Eddington, Dean of the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy.
Mr. President, these candidates for the degree Doctor of Pharmacy have successfully and capably completed all of the degree requirements and eagerly anticipate a rewarding career in the pharmacy profession. When thinking about the class of 2022, several words come to mind: resiliency, positivity, and altruism. The COVID-19 pandemic began during the second semester of their second year. Many of their rotations were subsequently canceled or revamped to become virtual. As the pandemic continued, many of them were on the front lines, participating in COVID-19 vaccination clinics, both at UNB and M&T Bank Stadium and at community pharmacies. Some of them volunteered for these experiences also, recognizing the real-world public health crisis experience they could gain from serving as vaccinators or dose preparers. Telehealth and telemedicine became a part of their educational experience. They were instrumental in helping our faculty and preceptors navigate the sometimes confusing and challenging world of technology, and not to mention the patients that they connected with. Despite these challenges, these students persevered, committing nearly 300,000 hours of service through their work in community and independent pharmacies, hospitals, and long-term care settings. This truly talented group of students is most deserving of the Doctor of Pharmacy degree. Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the School of Pharmacy, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Doctor of Pharmacy in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements.
Dean Eddington, I'm so pleased to accept your candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Doctor of Pharmacy. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Doctor of Pharmacy will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Social Work please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dr. Judy Postmus, Dean of the University of Maryland School of Social Work.
Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of our distinguished faculty of the School of Social Work, I request that you confer upon these incredible candidates the degree Masters of Social Work in recognition of their successful completion of all requirements. In the midst of a pandemic, this outstanding class of 2022 provided nearly 400,000 hours of clinical, management, policy, and community development services in our communities. They provided these services with respect and integrity, providing innovative services, focusing on the well-being and sustainability of themselves and others, and with a commitment to equity and justice that strengthens our society by preventing problems, accelerating recovery, protesting inequality, confronting racism, and expanding opportunities for all.
Dean Postmus, that's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours.
I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Master of Social Work. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Master of Social Work will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Kirschling.
President Gerald, on behalf of the University of Maryland School of Nursing, faculty, and staff, I am pleased to present 467 nursing students who are receiving their first degree in nursing or who have returned for additional degrees in the most trusted profession. They follow in the footsteps of the 272 nursing alumni who graduated in December of 2021. I want to thank all of them for their steadfast commitment to make a difference in the lives they touch across numerous healthcare settings and in the community. So, Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendations of the exceptional faculty of the School of Nursing, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice in recognition for their successful completion of all of the requirements.
Thank you. Dean Kirschling, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice will please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing please rise? Candidates will be presented by Dean Kirschling.
Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of those exceptional faculty of the School of Nursing, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing in recognition for their successful completion of all of their requirements.
Dean Kirschling, I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Master of Science or Master of Science in Nursing. Congratulations.
They actually got a baccalaureate. Sorry about guys.
Well, you just got promoted.
Yeah, 2 degrees. These are the bachelor graduates.
Okay, they have it backwards in my book, but congratulations.
So, Mr. President.
All right, well, graduates with the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing, please be seated. Now will the candidates for the degree Master of Science and Master of Science in Nursing please rise. Candidates will be presented by Dean Kirschling.
We just wanted to illustrate our flexibility as nurses. So, Mr. President, in accordance with the recommendation of the dedicated faculty of the School of Nursing, I request that you confer upon these candidates the degree of Master of Science or Master of Science in Nursing in recognition of their successful completion of all of the requirements.
Dean Kirschling, I hope I have it right this time. I am pleased to accept these candidates, and I confer upon each of you the degree Masters of Science or Masters of Science in Nursing. Congratulations.
Graduates with the degree Master of Science and Master of Science in Nursing will please be seated. Graduates receiving the degrees from the schools of medicine and the graduate school, please advance to the platform to receive your diplomas. Graduates from the graduate school will appear on the left side of the stage. Graduates from the School of Medicine on the right side of the stage. Guests are asked to remain off the arena floor during the ceremony so that diplomas may be distributed to graduates without interruption. Pictures may be taken from the guest seating area or upon completion of the ceremony from the floor. Graduates receiving degrees from the School of Law, please rise and advance to the platform to receive your diplomas. Graduates from the School of Law will appear on the right-hand side of the stage. Graduates receiving degrees from the School of Dentistry, please rise and advance to the left side of the platform to receive your diplomas. Graduates receiving degrees from the School of Nursing, please rise and approach the right side of the stage to receive your diploma. Graduates receiving a degree from the School of Social Work, please rise and approach the left side of the platform to receive your diploma. graduates receiving degrees from the School of Pharmacy, please rise and approach the left side of the platform to receive your degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 graduates of the University of Maryland, Baltimore. All right, will the audience please be seated?
You made it. Congratulations. It's been my great pleasure, and I know that also for the platform party, to be here with you on this important day. It's just heartwarming to be here in person. It's heartwarming to be healthy, to be alive. Thank you for being here. You've done a great job, and you've shown the definition of resilience and perseverance. So congratulations on that. So in closing, I only have two requests of you to remember. The first is remember who your graduation speaker was, okay? And second of all, remember where you graduated from. You graduated from not just the University of Maryland, Baltimore, but from a school in the University of Baltimore. Take good care of those schools. You're not leaving it. You're just becoming an alumnus or alumna of that school. Stay involved, participate, be generous, be supportive, give them your time, because we need it. We need your participation. So I think I'd like to close by simply saying just how proud we are with what you've accomplished. It's a pleasure to be here, and I wish you well in your careers and look forward to great accomplishments. Maybe even being the president standing up here one day, okay? So congratulations.
Will the graduates and guests please remain in place until the recession of the platform party and faculty is complete?
Thank you.